How's it going, YouTube? It's RJ here, and this is the breeding guide I promised you guys that I would be making. And for the next few videos, I'm going to be using Lucario or Riolu inside Pokemon X and Y, and inside Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I'm going to be going for Eevee, and I'm going to go make a Jolteon competitive. And this right here is going to be the basics to breeding right here. We're not going to use any of my images because those will be coming out in the near future. And this is just basically telling you guys how to breed Pokemon. The very first thing you need to do is you need to be available to access the daycare centers. The daycare centers in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, you have two accesses to them. You have one right by that the biking area, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but you have one in the battle resort as well. And then in X and Y, you get access to the daycare center as soon as you get past that Snorlax. I don't remember what route it is right off the top of my head, but you can only breed in these places. You can only put 2 Pokemon in at a time to even produce an egg. And then the person inside Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire or X and Y, the person on the outside is the one who's going to be giving you the eggs. Now, make sure when you go talk to the man outside, because I believe in all these games it's a man or a boy to give it to you. You have to have an extra space in your party to receive an egg, otherwise he's going to hold on to it. You may reject the egg if you press A and then you keep pressing B. Or you can take it if you have an extra space, but if you don't have an extra space, just come back to it after you clear off one of your party spots, and you will be able to receive the egg. And when you put a Pokemon in, you're going to have to pay for it since it's a daycare center. You're going to get a base fee of $100, and then you're going to get $100 per additional level that your Pokemon levels up. So make sure when you do this, you have some money in your video game. You don't need too much. It's not too expensive. However, after a while it does cost a lot of money. To get eggs, you have to place a male and a female of the same egg group inside the daycare center. That doesn't mean that you have to get 2 Charizards or 2 Blastoises to go into it. You just need 2 Pokemon of the same egg group. You have Dragon egg group, you have, I'm not 100% sure on all the egg groups, but there's quite a few of them. You have monster egg groups, field egg group, and you just have to Google what Pokemon are compatible with each other and who's in what egg group. So I know you can go put a Charmander and a Fraxure in there, and they're in the same egg group, and you're going to come out with a baby Pokemon. As long as it's male and female, it has to be male and female. Males and males can't breed together. Females and females can't breed together. And neither can a male and a genderless or a female and a genderless, unless it's a special. There's one exception with Manaphy and Lucario. However, that's something that is special. I don't need to get into that. Now, when the egg hatches, if there's egg moves on one of the Pokemon, I will explain egg moves in a later video. But if there's egg moves on a Pokemon, it will be passed down to the baby Pokemon. And if you breed out of 2 different Pokemon, so let's say you get the male Fraxure and a female Charmander, it's going to be the Pokemon out of the egg is going to be a Charmander because it goes by what the female is. Now, eggs appear much quicker if you have the oval charm, and if you're breeding for, say, a Charmander and a Charmander, or a Fraxure and a Fraxure, or within the generation line, so Charmander and Charizard, you get eggs much quicker that way instead of breeding out. But you breed out of Pokemons just to get egg moves, and that will be explained in a later video. Now, one Pokemon that is really essential to breeding, and it's the breeding master, you're going to want Ditto. Ditto is such an amazing Pokemon when it breeds because it can breed with genderless Pokemon and it can breed with any other Pokemon that can have an egg. So you can't breed legendaries, unfortunately. Otherwise, everyone will have overpowered Pokemon, overpowered Xerneases or Yveltals, and we don't want that. Well, Pokemon doesn't want that. Now, how to hatch the egg? It's simple. You walk, you bike, you move around on your roller skates, or surf. Just moving your Pokemon character, your trainer, starts hatching the eggs. For every step you take, it counts off inside the Pokemon game. Some Pokemon take longer to hatch than others. You have to take forever to hatch a Sableye or a, I forget the name of it. I had an example, Eevee. It takes forever to hatch Eevee and Sableye. However, you can hatch Magikarps so easily, it's not even funny. It's easier to hatch eggs if you have a Pokemon at the front of your party when you're moving with the ability Flame Body. And what that does is it halves the amount of time that it takes to go hatch the Pokemon. So, if you walk around with a Talonflame with Flame Body, Chandelure, Volcarona, Slugma, they all quicken the amount of time it takes to hatch your Pokemon. And that reduces the amount of time and allows you to get more eggs more efficiently. And you can also use the O-Powers for hatching them. Now, this guide is for XY ORAS, so make sure, I'm not going to explain anything in black and white or anything like that, so this is specifically for XY and ORAS. Use your O-Powers to shorten the amount of time. You use O-Power hatching 1, and then you use that 15 times, you get O-Power hatching 2. Use O-Power hatching 2 30 times or something like that, and then you get O-Power 3 for that. Use 3, and then what I realize is you can breed a full party of eggs, except for the one where you could have a Flame Body Pokemon, within 3 minutes. If you use O-Power and you have the Flame Body Pokemon, you can hatch a whole batch of eggs if they're starter Pokemon, and starter Pokemon do take quite some time to hatch. Helpful items would be a Destiny Knot, which will give your Pokemon IVs. It will trade down IVs. You'll have Everstone, which trades down nature. You have incenses, which such as the Sea Incense, I believe, or the Wave one, I forget to be sure. It will give you, if you give that to a Mantine, it will hatch a Mantike. Lax Incense will go and give your Snorlax, or Full Incense, I'm not 100% sure, check this out on Google or Sorabi, and you give that to a Snorlax and then a Munchlax will hatch out. And then another thing, just to make note of it, give a Pikachu or a Raichu a Light Ball when you breed it, and then the Pichu that will come out of that will have the move Volt Tackle. And that's the only exception to egg moves. Now what's next on the channel is going to be egg moves in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. That's going to be the very first video I'm going to post after this. There's going to be IV breeding in ORAS and X and Y, and then you'll have Masuda method coming right after that. And it actually happens in this order when you're breeding a competitive Pokemon, because this is for competitive builders. And I know this video may be sketchy and it might not have the best quality of what you guys are expecting. However, this is just the basics, and I will go into more depth, and I will go into extreme depths with egg moves, IV breeding, and the Masuda method in the next videos. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, so that way I know you guys want to see another video. And I will be there next time, guys, and make sure to stay tuned. And until then, YouTube, goodbye.